What's going on, guys? Back with another Modified Rides podcast. It's the first one of 2026. Hope you guys had a good holiday season, good New Year's. Didn't get any trouble over New Year's break. Hopefully, you got to enjoy some Christmas with your family. Back, like I said, first one of the year. Hopefully, you guys picked up some Modified Podcast shirts, some hats. If you didn't, still have a few left. Hit me up, shoot me a message on any of the Instagrams. Brandon at BurrellImages.com. You can shoot me an email there, get you a shirt, get you a hat, whatever you want. I got some new stickers coming, but I'm also trying to, now that 2026 has started, I'm trying to do more in-person stuff, trying to get some new gear here. Want to set up at a few shows. If you'd like to see me at a show, your show, if you're putting one on, if you want to link up with me, discuss your build, discuss, can't even talk this year. First of the year and I'm already messing up. So if you want to, link up and discuss your build or your shop or whatever, let me know. I plan to do some more in-person stuff and really looking forward to doing that. But until then, I got Sean French on. If that name sounds familiar, you OG guys may know him from the Solo Films DVD days, back before YouTube took over. Anybody since then, you may know him from Phat Phabz. He kind of a big part at Phat Phabz, and I discussed kind of how he got into it, the progression of the video days, what changed with that, and where he's at now, and what all the shop over at Phat Phabz is doing. So check it out. Cooler interview with Sean French. All right, guys. So like I said, we're here with Sean French. I guess the legendary Sean French, and you OG guys know him through his past, but now he's kind of, one of the faces of Phat Phabz. So I guess let's start and say who Sean French is.
Who, me?
Yeah. Who is Sean French?
Yeah, I'm Sean French. I've been in this industry, the air ride industry, long time, since high school. I mean, that's whenever I first got introduced to air ride on trucks and SUVs and mini trucks, basically. So, yeah, I just turned 40, so I mean, it's been over 20 years.
Baby still.
Dude, yeah, I was 16 years old when I saw my first bag truck, and it blew my mind. So it was at my high school. Seniors at my high school were driving bagged S10s and a Blazer, and there was a full size Chevy. And
what year did you graduate?
I graduated in 04.
Okay, so that was after the peak mini truck era, but yeah, still when people like the bag technology was actually coming out pretty heavy.
Right. Yeah, that was probably towards the end of like the old school mini truck style bag jobs, the cheap bag jobs. That was towards probably the end of that. Well, maybe kind of the beginning of like the transition to the newer air ride technology. It just, obviously progressed more and more every year. I mean, it's crazy now, to even think what we have available today for garage builder compared to back then, 20, 25 years ago. There's so much available. It's crazy. There's no reason today to be building a truck that's not daily drivable and something that you can depend on to drive across country, because there's so much affordable technology out today for air rides. So,
but everybody used to have to carry bags and lines and a bag of fittings, and
Well, I mean, I still would stress people that go on road trips to bring that type of stuff.
Just like a normal driving around town, people are carrying bags and all that stuff with them, just in case. I mean,
you gotta expect the worst on any type of road trip, because you never know what could happen. It don't matter how good the build is. These things happen. They're built by humans that make mistakes, and they get driven, and there's maintenance. So a lot of the guys that have zero issues, they probably maintenance their trucks every year before show season when they're hitting all these shows. Whereas people that leave them in the garage and just expect to drive them and not check anything year after year after year, I mean, there's wear and tear. So stuff's going to happen.
It's just like factory vehicles. You can have a brand new factory vehicle do the same thing, crap out on you.
I mean, these stock cars, your normal everyday person isn't going to go 50,000 miles and not change their oil, I mean, I'm sure there's people that do, but you can't expect
the female gender there.
So, but yeah,
my wife's car, she drives to work, her brand new 25 Integra I just had the oil change in it because they said, well, don't worry about the oil change. It'll tell you when it needs to be done. She is still at 15% at 10,000 miles. I'm like, that blows my mind that's what these new cars are telling you to do now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, that's not right. And they're like, nope, it's got to be at 10,000.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the new cars were all running full synthetic oil that, just, I mean, to me, like you said, it kind of blows your mind. You're like, this ain't right. This ain't going to be good for the motor. But with technology, again, it's crazy. I mean, that's what it's designed to do.
Yeah. So you grew up in Oklahoma?
I grew up in Oklahoma, central Oklahoma City area. Still live here. This house that I'm in right here, still Oklahoma City. The shop that, Phat Phabz, it's like probably about 30, 40 minutes. But the town I live in here is more Tornado Alley is what it's known for.
Yeah.
But that's where I was born and raised, and that's where we still live. And I've been working with Jake for, over 10 years. So
Moore is where my blue truck, my first SEMA build, wound up. We dropped it off leaving SEMA in Moore, so it was there for a while. Now the crazy part is it's 5 minutes down the road from me.
It's funny how life works.
I have people all the time send me a picture. Man, is this your old truck? Why is it here? I'm like, yep, it's back here in town.
You're like, yeah, I didn't buy it back.
I looked at it a couple years ago and across the parking lot. I'm like, man, she still looks good. And I got up on it. I was like, man, she don't look good.
What year was that when you built it?
14.
14? Okay.
Yeah. Now what got you into trucks? You said that in high school, like friends that had bag stuff, was that people that like you developed a love messing with them?
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. At that point in my life, I was a sophomore in high school. They were seniors. My stepsister at the time, her boyfriend was one of those guys. So they would come over to my mom's house. My mom, well, let's see, that was 2002 probably. And they'd all come over to my mom's house and they'd have their bag trucks. So, I'd see up close and personal with these trucks. And that's kind of, I'd ask them questions and like, what, how does that do that? What is that? Why is it so loud? I mean, they had the old school, like Harry on SMC valves that were like barking loud. My stepsister's boyfriend would pull up and, when he'd lay it out in the driveways. Just, seeing that and like wanting to do that to my truck, because my truck in high school was a 79 C10.
Okay.
So obviously it's a little easier to do with a mini truck minus a full size. So I just lowered my truck, just little things I could afford to do at that point in time. And then, dude, snowball, like you just fall in love with the scene, the industry, and one thing leads to another, and you're just, all your money you're making is just going into whatever project you've got, whatever truck you've got. Don't matter, what you're making. You just buy what you can get. But yeah, dude, just fell in love with it, man. It's crazy how it works, and it's like, it's so crazy to think back that long ago of like how much simpler life was, and how much easier I feel like it probably was to have a truck on air because it was so simple.
Yeah.
But not to say it was the safest thing, like the stuff you're putting on there. But
I ask everybody all the time, if you go back to the first vehicle that you had that was bagged, would you throw your family in it and drive down the road with it right now?
Yeah, I guess that's a loaded question.
Most people are like, ain't no way in hell I'd put kids in that thing.
I think it depends on the era that they built that truck. So,
well, I guess I got 10 years on you. So I guess in my era, it'd be, that was a little sketchier. It was like just some 110 stick welder that somebody's grandpa had that they let them borrow in the driveway and hope the notch was square, that kind of thing.
But in those days, like it even mattered. You just wanted to be low. You want to be low and you want to be on air. And it didn't matter what it took or what it looked like. Just get me on the ground.
Did you wind up bagging that C10?
I didn't end up bagging that C10. So I ended up getting rid of the C10. I went through a couple imports. And then I eventually got an S10. I was probably 18 or 19 years old. I was working. So that's funny because my first real job was Krispy Kreme donuts. And my stepsister's boyfriend worked there. He had his little S10 that was bagged. Obviously that that's what I wanted. And I was like, this S10 is cool. Like this is what I want to do. You know, some other buddies around town had like lowered S10s. I'm like, man, it was the round body. Like, well, I guess it'd be like the newer round body, like 98 and newer, 98 to 03, whatever it went to.
Clip on it. A lot of the older guys with the square headlights are swapping over to that when those come out.
Yeah. So I ended up getting one of those. I got a job at Dell selling computers whenever I think I was like 20 years old, and started making stupid money. So obviously, making all this money, want to build a mini truck. So I bought the mini truck, and we bought a Suicide Doors, Thor Brothers 4-link kit, 3-link kit, put it in the back, control arms up front. That's basically the setup that I got. And, you know, we basically did it in a weekend.
That was the go-to in that time era.
Oh, that was the go-to, especially for S10s. You know, he still is really the go-to guy for S10 parts. I mean, you see his posts all the time about how long people are waiting for these control arms. So, I mean, it's obviously dialed in, and you know, if I get another S10, then yeah, I'd want a set of those just for nostalgia, you know. But
even though you have access to get custom built stuff, you would still
yeah, we can make it custom make, but it's just the nostalgia of it, and just to say I got Thorbeck Brothers control arms on that, you know, it's just I don't know, it's a different level for the old school mini truck guys.
Yeah,
but
it's like the can-do stuff. It's like the can-do stuff for like the Toyotas. Everybody had to have the can-dos for the Toyota guys.
Yeah. So yeah, we did that S10, and I actually built it with some of the guys that I was talking about that, you know, in high school trucks. They helped me put it together, and I ended up getting some Boyd Coddington turbines for it. 18s and 20s, 18s in the front, 20s in the back, and did a couple things. Did a full Cali combo in the back with some LEDs flush mounted. We shaved the front corner lights. We flat blacked it, sprayed some flames on it. Just you know, a lot of good help from some local friends, and took it to some shows down in you know, southern Oklahoma. We actually took it to the final Rezo in Blythe, California.
Wow.
We trailered it out there. Me and some buddies, we took all our trucks out there. So that was a cool experience to experience that. Kind of like my first look into like a big truck show. You know, in Oklahoma, we've got our big show was always Slamboree.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously went to that show quite a few times whenever I was getting into the bag truck stuff. But just going to that one out in California just kind of opened my eyes to, like, you know, how big some of the truck clubs were, and just seeing how things were built out there is just a whole nother level. You know, when you got small town Oklahoma and there's only a handful of guys building trucks, whereas you go out there and there's like thousands of trucks, you're like, this is crazy. You know?
The thing with going to those faraway shows, same thing for us here on the East Coast. Like we hit like your area because you're 14 or so hours from me. You know, we hit stuff like that, and it's a different setup of trucks. It's a different style, even though it's the same style. You go that far away, you wind up with different sub styles of that same style.
Right.
So you pick up ideas from guys that you wouldn't see, like you said, in a little hometown.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I would say, different styles across the country as far as how people are building their trucks. Suspension, especially, like, you know, most of the West Coast stuff is like open bed, tube work, cantilever. You know, they want to show off that, you know, fancy suspension work in the back. Whereas you start working more towards the East Coast, it's more closed in and clean and more simple look. But I'd say today it's still probably about the same, you know, style. East Coast to West Coast is pretty much the same, you know, because, you know, your East Coast and West Coast guys are growing up in those eras, and that's all they know. You know, that's the nostalgia for them. But
I tell people, if you can get out of your local 2-hour radius of your house and go to a show somewhere further away, at least one time a year, once every other year, just to see the other stuff that's out there, it definitely broadens your horizon when it comes to what you're actually building yourself.
Well, yeah, not only that, but I think it motivates you because you see things you've never seen before, and you're like, this is crazy. And it kind of opens you up to new ideas and motivates you to want to do those. But
even though it's all on the internet now, to see some of that stuff and actually walk around it and see how it looks in person is way different than looking at it in a picture.
I 100% agree with that.
So with you going to these shows and stuff, I know you developed the solo DVD. So how
Yeah.
did that come about from you going to these shows?
I went to this show out in California. The buddies I went with, that was actually the kind of beginning stages of solo films. I had me and my buddy Grant Guerin. We had this camera that I can't remember if it was one that I acquired or he had, but we took it out there and we kind of filmed some stuff. You see like the old school DVDs like Low Life
Yeah.
and Domination of Video, things like that. And we obviously watched those and got motivation to go to shows and stuff like that because like that looks like fun. But we had the small camera, cheapo camera, and I built a little handle for it, and I was trying to emulate some of the styles that you see in those videos, and it kind of turned into, man, we need to do something in our area because there wasn't really anything in our area. I mean, the Crime Pays guys down in Texas, they were doing their thing, and I think we were kind of coming up around the same time. They obviously blew up faster than we did, but that was kind of the spark into it, and that was probably, I can't remember, was that in like '09 or 10? I think that the last Rezo was in '09, '08 or '09, one of those. I always tell people, we kind of started our thing in 2008. That's when we started doing videos and just kind of playing around with it. But I would say when it started going to more shows like outside of Oklahoma, like Missouri, Texas, and stuff. I would say I think probably 2009 to 2010 ish was like the transition into let's try and do something here. So our first video was First Time Around, and it was terrible. We did a
At
premiere.
the time, it was like the biggest thing in your mind, though.
Oh yeah, I mean we were excited about it, but it's just like you watch that, and then you watch like somebody else's video from the same time frame, and you're just like, that was garbage. Like, what were we doing? But it was minimal equipment, minimal experience, and minimal software
Well,
you know what I mean. We're working with what we got, what's free, because we're just broke mini truckers, just trying to do something fun, do something cool, and but
well, technology and software, like I said, was not what it is now. You can edit on your phone better than you could back then. So how are you changing that from the video? Because it was still film back then, wasn't it? Or is it on a?
yeah, it's all tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you converting it to be able to edit it on your computer?
So you have to plug your camera into your computer, and then you upload it from the tape to the computer into a digital format.
So
And
record it from the tape to the digital format.
yeah, right.
These kids don't understand now.
Huh?
These kids don't understand that now.
No, it's a struggle. It was a whole process. It wasn't just pull your phone out of your pocket, record it, and then you can instantly edit it and post it within 5 minutes or less.
Yeah.
No, this was like a whole ordeal. And then oh man, yeah, they have no idea.
I watched a video the other day about one of these camera switchers and stuff for podcast stuff. So I'm trying to get in to be able to do more in-person stuff. And the guy's like, well, he's like, the cameras I'm going to show you. He said, this was the camera I wanted. He held it up, and it was like the one that Oliver and everybody carried, the big white lens. He's like, man, this was my dream camera. I got 2 of them. And he's like, so this is the camera I'm recording on now. And he goes, and this is the one I always wanted. And it was the grainiest, worst quality. But at the time when you were doing that was high-end technology.
Well, and like what's crazy is like people got to think of the concept of this, like TVs and stuff now, they're all 4K. So, your pixel rate is so big. And so if you play a video from 20 years ago, the picture's this big on a TV this big. So back then the TVs were this big. I mean, yeah, it's projected in there's big screen TVs, but the pixel, I don't know. It's crazy. Technology is crazy. And but yeah, it was definitely a struggle, but it was exciting at the same time back then. But it was just kind of slow at first. We didn't sell a whole lot of stuff. We didn't really put ourselves out there because, like I said, we broke mini truckers. We didn't have a lot of money to go to a lot of shows, and we're working full time and trying to build our trucks. So yeah, it was kind of a struggle. But
and the people that don't know, this was pre-YouTube. So
pre-YouTube.
So the only way to get your content out was to actually put it on a disc and sell it to somebody.
Oh yeah, 100%. all DVDs. There was no like, I mean, I guess there was like MySpace at the time, and you could upload clips and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, it was crazy. It's so easy now. I feel like, but and it's so flooded now too. So, but
Everybody's a videographer now.
yeah,
Everybody.
and it's easy. It's easy because it's in your pocket. 4K in your pocket is crazy to me. But I mean, I'm not knocking nobody out there that is doing what they're doing because again, at the end of the day, it still is a hustle and it still takes time and vision to create. Especially now, I feel like would be harder to be successful because it's so flooded, and to be able to stand out from all the people that are making content out there. So yeah, I would say, I mean, kudos to the guys that are like doing it now and being successful because you definitely got to be able to stand out and have your your own look. So yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was a struggle back then.
But you definitely like you made a name for yourself in that Midwest area.
Yeah,
And
so,
then like you were one of the ones that like you mentioned, Oliver at Domination, and all that crime page stuff. Like there was just a handful of you guys that were creating that content because at the time most people didn't understand the concept of the movements to get the videos and how to get the right footage. But you created that. How many videos did you wind up putting out?
man, 10 to 12. I mean, I'd have to count, but we had that first one first time around, and then we did take two, and then we did trifecta because we're doing like a numerical type thing. So it was first time around, take two. Those two were not great, but they progressively got better. The quality and our own style kind of came into play. Trifecta was probably the turn. So during between the first one and the third one, me and Grant, the guy that I started solo films with, we kind of had a falling out, but I wanted to keep going. He went his own way. He ended up getting married and having kids, which is awesome. I'm happy for him.
Life priorities.
Yeah, life changes things, but me, I was just I was so set in like making this successful. So I had another buddy, little Ryan. He came in, he helped me film, helped me edit, and we did trifecta together. And that one started, people started getting excited and liking what we were putting out. And then come 2011, that's when things kind of took a turn. 2011, so my wife now, Christy, we started dating 2010. We started, getting serious, and she kind of could tell like how serious I was about this video stuff, and I would say it's thanks to her that she kind of pressured me and pushed me to do it full time, and that happened in 2011. I was working at a machine shop full time, and even the owner of that machine shop, he said, "Man, he's like, you're taking off a lot. You obviously you got to make a choice here. Do you want to be a machinist or do you want to do this car show stuff?" And I was like, man, obviously at the time, my passion was with the video stuff. So I ended up quitting that job and we went to 19 shows in 2011 and really kind of set the stage for getting our name out there. I mean, we traveled
Now,
all
were you
across.
setting up a booth at these shows to sell the DVDs?
So I I paid for fuel, paid for hotels, paid for the booth. Nobody knew who we were. So at that point in time, I had to pay my dues. I wasn't expecting to get a free booth or anything like that. Like a lot of the other video companies or even photographers, they had their travel paid for, their hotel paid for, free booth, whatever they wanted. So in 2011, we're hitting 19 shows, and thanks to Christy, she was real supportive. She went with me to every show. Man, it kind of blew up after that. We had so much content. We went to so many places. I mean, we went to RA All Star event. We went to Tex Mex down in Texas. Obviously, we went to Sparks in the Ozarks. We went to shoot. Oh, I've got a list right here. So this is the DVD. Well, this is a Blu-ray, but this is the DVD that actually from 2011. This is the show DVD that we did. So we did Kicker Bash, laid out at the park in Tennessee, Tex Mex. We went down to Showfest, Mississippi, and then SOL in Missouri, Camp and Drag. That was our first year at Camp and Drag. Changed my life. That was
I've
crazy.
never been. Never
RA
made
All
it.
Star event, and then we went to some local Oklahoma shows: Oklahoma Shakedown, West Texas Shakedown, Sparks and Ozarks, Battle Drag down in Houston, Last Resort, Louisiana, Winter Showdown, and then Turkey Drag end of the year in Texas. So that's a hell of a lineup, and
And for the kids that don't know, the disc he's holding, it's a round circular thing that you used to have to put into another device that connected to your TV for you to be able to watch something. Yeah, you had to stick that into
it looks like
another.
a video game, like you put in your PlayStation.
No, they don't even use those anymore.
Oh,
It's
it's all digital
streaming.
now. But yeah, that was the year that really changed everything. I was doing the video full time. We did a bunch of features. Met
Now,
a lot.
did you have a company that was doing the burning and stuff for you? Or did you do all that in house yourself?
So before, I want to say the third or no, it was we did Trifecta, and then I think Trifecta I had them printed. I found a company online to do everything. They print the disc, they print on the disc, and they print the cover, and then it all comes like Saran wrap. I found a company online. They did the Trifecta DVD, and then they did the Catalyst DVD and Blu-rays for us. And then after that, I used a local company. I found a local company like 20 minutes from here, and they started printing all my stuff. So, yeah, we print them by the thousands, when boxes show up on your doorstep. It's like Christmas Day. You got, all these DVDs. But yeah, we started doing shirts and stickers and hats, and, we set up a booth at every single show. So, this is the DVD that we were filming for in 2011. So we had those other 3 DVDs that we were selling at those shows. And so just by, I think, going to all those shows out of state, people didn't know who we were. And I was selling these DVDs cheap just to like get our name out there. Give a whole bunch to the show promoter, like, here, just throw these out during awards, whatever. Like, I wanted people to see it, just to get our name out there, good or bad, at least we're out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that was, I would say that was the year and that just kind of changed everything. So, but crazy to think back, like a lot of memories, but met a lot of people, a lot of contacts, made a lot of good friends that I still talk to this day. That was also the year KP from KP Concepts, he started filming. He actually did the DVD artwork for Trifecta, and that's what kind of started our relationship together. And then, found out he's into photography, and then he kind of helped me make the push to using a DSLR and sliders, and just kind of taking it to a whole nother level with the look of our videos. But yeah, man, he helped me change the game for sure.
Now, with you doing the strictly DVDs, did you feel the flow from DVD format to YouTube? Like, was it a hard, like, people stopped buying DVDs and started doing YouTube, or was it something that you were able to transition with easily?
So I wouldn't say it was like a hard transition, but there was definitely, you could tell things were falling off. Because at the time, I would say that was probably like 2013, 2014 ish. I became friends with Brian Good, Grinder TV. We'd see each other at shows and give each other a hard time, because I mean it's a hustle out there. You're walking around all day carrying a rig. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
But me and him had a lot of conversations back then about the transition and how everything's going to digital. And before that, we were selling so many DVDs, and it was able to keep me busy and keep it flowing to where we could still go to shows and still, basically live the dream of, having that DVD company. But
now, is that all you were doing at the time? You were strictly doing the DVDs? Like, that was your source of income?
Yes. But I wasn't just doing just the DVD stuff. I did dip into some other stuff. I did some photography and video work for some other shops. I also did some wedding videos. Not a huge fan of that.
Same thing. I've shot weddings before and I've done it, but it's like, I'm not a fan of that either.
I still have people ask me today to do it, and dude, I don't know.
I always say that's the one event. If you screw up, your camera messes up, your memory card gets crashed, something, you can't redo that. You can reshoot a truck or something, but you can't get everybody's family back together and rent the tux again. Like it just don't happen. So I'm
Like
terrified of that.
I don't know how there's like videographers out there that are doing it by themselves, weddings by themselves, because like you said, everything happens boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And if you get that, and you don't have like somebody over here getting this angle, yeah, you're kind of screwed. So people that are doing it on their own, man, props to you because that's hard. I've been there. But yeah, I mean that's basically what I did full time for since 2011 to 2015 is about when I started working with Jake. 2014 is really when the relationship me and Jake kind of started. It's funny because it's kind of a joke that a running joke with me and Jake is whenever I was coming up in the scene, I was hanging around with the Auto Trends guys. So I don't know if you're familiar with Auto Trends.
Sounds familiar.
So Pleasures, the car and truck club,
Yeah.
that was real big in my area in Oklahoma. And they had a lot of badass stuff. And a lot of that was built at Auto Trends. The guys, Jimmy Broyles that owned Auto Trends, him and his buddy, they built a lot of cool shit. So the guys that I grew up, building these S10s and stuff with, they were friends with him. And so that was kind of like our group. I hung out with those guys. And then Jake had Phat Phabz, or Phat Fabrications is what he called it back in the day. He had his shop. And so it was kind of like a rivalry, kind of. Like he would fix stuff that we would mess up, and we would fix stuff that he would mess up. And it was just kind of, kind of one of those things like, but so just going to all these shows, I'm just like, F that guy, like I don't like that guy, he's an asshole or whatever, and but as I got to know him and hanging around, like we had mutual friends and just you realize the type of person that he really is. At a show, people get kind of crazy and get drunk and just like I said, it was rivalry stuff. So it was kind of like a banter between us. Yeah, I'd say 2014 I started doing some video stuff and photography for him when the shop was at his house. He built I guess it was a 2014, like a red new body. It was brand new body style Silverado. He built it, body dropped it in like 30 days or something crazy for SEMA. He did that one. He also built a brand new dually the following year, I think it was. It might have been that year. It's so long ago. But I documented all of that stuff.
Yeah. How was that almost 12 years ago at this point?
It's crazy.
It's 2026 crazy. Here. Like by the time this comes out, it's going to be 2026. So it's like that was 12 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy to even think about. But that's kind of and that's kind of how it started with me and Jake. And I was kind of talking to him about the Jeep at that point in time. Like, man, Chrissy's got this Jeep. I would love to build this thing. It needs to be bodied. I've never seen one. People are gonna, it's gonna blow their minds. A Jeep body drop on the ground, and he's like, "You're crazy. You're crazy. We're not doing that." And obviously, it ended up happening. And we documented.
You still have the Jeep?
Yeah, we still have the Jeep. It's in the garage. But so yeah, it's crazy. It's been a wild ride, and
those that don't know, it's a Commander. Is that what Jeep?
2008 Commander. Bagged, body dropped on 22s.
Badass.
And we did it at Jake's old shop at his house. And Kyle Dimitrov, he was working for Jake back then. He did a lot of the fabrication. He's the one that did a lot of the work on the Jeep. And him and Jake designed the front suspension on it. And yeah, I mean, it's still same as it was when he built it. Obviously, we painted it and did some little stuff here and there, but
now, why did you want to body drop something like that? Because that's not a standard, people are doing S10 Blazers and, 4Runner stuff, but that's just an odd off the wall build. Is it just to have something different?
I mean, yeah, it was like one of those, like, nobody's ever done it. It's different. And just in my mind, I could visualize like this body style would look so cool on the ground, just flat.
Yeah.
And obviously it does. So it worked out. But
what year did you do that?
So we did that. Keep me with years again. Probably 2015 or 16. 2015 or 16. So
Now,
yeah,
was you working with Jake at the time?
I wasn't working for Jake full time. Like I was helping out at the shop in 2015. I didn't start working for him full time. I don't think till 2016. So that's when I started working like in the shop every day. I didn't come in till later in the day because I was machining parts. He had a lathe that he bought from, I believe he bought it from Mike Losh. It's somewhere up there. I think it might have been Mike. No, it might have been his buddy. But anyways, he bought that machine and he knew that I had told him that I had a machinist background. So I started turning parts, and then he's yeah, and you come in, and you could do some filming as the projects that we're doing, blah blah blah. And then it turned into, oh, we're gonna design a kit off of this truck. I was like, yeah, we should design a kit. We should set up a website. Let's rebrand. So I designed a whole new logo, the logo that we use now, not the airbag one, but the old school one. Designed that, designed a shirt, started selling parts and shirts and hats, and it just, dude.
So he brought you in basically as marketing / shop bitch kind of thing.
Exactly, shop bitch. Yeah, that's what they call me. But yeah, that's where I started. So it's funny that you say that because that's something that like our young guys that we bring in now that are like shop bitch. Like that's where I started. I was like, you can't like let this position own you. You have to show up and do the work and do the grunt work, and you'll learn and you'll absorb all this knowledge, and who knows where it could take you. But yeah, that's where I started out, man. Just and then like if we had a cool project, I'd get my camera out because I brought it every day. Get my camera out, start filming, and we did quite a few videos on YouTube because that's kind of what pushed me to. He offered me a job to do that because he knew I would be like meeting him for lunch and stuff because he'd be out. He's working full time, um, driving a semi. He ran a grease truck. So he'd be, oh, I'm by your house. Let's go eat lunch. And he's like, you're not doing anything anyways. And I wouldn't be. I'd be playing video games. I just, the it just, I don't know if I was burnt out or what it was, but there was probably about 6 months to a year that I was just like, I was just over it. And he could tell. So he offered me a job and started working for him. Obviously, it changed my life and it's just pushed him to change his life too. And
now you said he was driving the truck and he was just doing the shop stuff after hours.
yeah, so the company he worked for got bought out, and they're making a bunch of changes because his dad, his uncle, they were all working for this company. And Jake, I think, had been working there since he was like 18 or something. So once it got bought out, it was kind of like he's like, I got to do something. Like I'm just going to do the shop thing full time, and that's when he hired me. He hired Kyle full time, and it was the three of us. It was me, Jake, and Kyle in a 2,000 square foot shop, two lifts, building SEMA trucks, and
At his house.
it's crazy. It's just crazy to think about like where we were, and that was in 2016, I think, 2015 or 2016, whenever he made that transition into doing the shop full time. So
hopefully I can get him on and we can do more background. So when you get back to work Monday, be like, look, dude, you got to quit going on vacation and get on this damn podcast.
exactly. No, that guy has, man, he's worked really hard to build the shop up to what it is now. He sacrificed a lot in his life to get to that point, and that's kind of where when we transitioned from the shop at his house to the shop we're in now, we had multiple conversations about what's the future going to look like, what is my role going to be, and I made it very clear like I'm ready to step up, and you need to kind of step back. And his daughter was younger, and I was like, dude, you're missing out on so much. Like this is what I'm here for. I'm here to help you build this into something great, something big, and free you up to do stuff with your family. So, yeah, I mean, he's on vacation. He deserves that. He, like I said, he sacrificed and did a lot over the years to get the shop to where it is, and we're still growing to this day. So,
Well, I know, like, I guess y'all made the move in 19 because I know I dropped my truck off at his house and then wound up it being picked up at the new shop. So that was right in the transition, with the new shop. So how did your role change going from his house shop to the new shop? Did it stay the same, or is that when you got the bump up?
So I was still the probably 6 months leading up to moving into this new shop. Me and Kyle were pressuring, like, we're out of room. We need to expand. We're getting busier. More and more people want us to build their trucks. We need to get another guy in here. We're just pressuring him. We reached out to some local guys that had helped us out with some stuff in the past, and we ended up hiring Jeremy Buell. He's a local buddy of mine that from back in the Pleasures days. He actually worked at Auto Trends as well. So we ended up hiring him, and he worked with us for quite a few years and helped us build a lot of cool shit. He did a lot of work on yours, him and Kyle both. So as that transition happened into the bigger shop, I kind of just kept doing my thing. I was still shipping out orders and doing the video of the project. So we had yours, and then we also were doing Showman's Navigator
Yeah.
time. So we did a whole build series on the Navigator at that point in time. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't as busy as it is now, but it was definitely, like, in our eyes, like, this is crazy. There's so much going on. So we slowly started hiring guys. We hired Eric Berthelot and a couple other guys along the way that kind of help us build the team that we have now. I mean, those guys don't work with us anymore. They went on to bigger and better things, which is fine. I'm happy for them. I'm real happy with the team that we've got now. But yeah, it's just, dude, I feel like it's just a blink of an eye, and it's just like we are where we are now, and just time just flying by because so many projects every year. It's just time flies.
It's like, we was talking before we come on about SEMA this year. It's like, how is it already SEMA again? And it was just SEMA, like, seems like a month ago. You was at SEMA 24. Like, it's, you blink and it's done. Because I remember I was trying to get, you and Jake both on. It's like, busy with SEMA and this and that. And now you blink and it's like, if I wait too long, you're gonna be on SEMA crunch again.
Yeah. Well, and like that's kind of been the running joke too, is like another year comes, like you got your SEMA crunch, and then you got your LST crunch, and then or you got whatever other crunch, whatever other shit.
And
So we've kind of transitioned out of those crunches. We're a little more prepared and get the scheduling better as far as not having to be all last minute. But sometimes it happens. Jay gets a wild hair in his ass, and he's just like, let's do this in 30 days. Something crazy. I'm like, okay, just because we can, and let's just. But
trust me, even this year we tried to plan ahead as far as I could on my Blazer, and we put stickers on and put trans fluid in it, and then hopped in it and drove it straight to the convention center. Like that was like way too close for me on that. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, sometimes that's how it goes, though. And what people don't understand is, like, a lot of that stuff's out of your control, and it's even a lot of times out of the control of the builder because one, you may be waiting on parts, or just you run into problems, or I mean, there's just so many variables that you can plan for. Oh yeah, we can do this in 60 days or whatever, but things happen.
So. Well, I was in a wheel booth that I rolled it. I had to roll it on Sunday at SEMA, and the wheels didn't show up till Thursday before SEMA. And I'm like, okay, if something happens and I couldn't get the tires mounted on Friday, like I'm screwed at that point. So, oh yeah, that was a little nerve wracking. But so on your end though, I guess you said all the shipping and all that stuff. How have you seen in the time, I guess, the transition from the shop house or the house shop to where it is now? Have you seen a lot more of DIYers ordering the parts and stuff to do it themselves now? Have you seen that shipping grow?
Yeah, we definitely have grown a lot since then. I mean, so much that, like, I don't even have time to ship out the orders. Like, I've trained people to put the kits together, box them up how I want, and ship them out. Are there orders that are sometimes missing pieces or wrong? Of course, that happens because
with everybody,
people that don't know these guys that come in, that they don't really know what we do or what the pieces are, and that happens. So it's just learning to adapt. But yeah, there's a huge jump even in the last couple of years. And I think that's just, like we talked about is our social media. It's just grown so much and put ourselves out there so much. And we're trying to come up with more products and more kits and things for the DIY guys to be able to do it in their garage and make it more affordable for them to build a quality product and not have to, you know, buy the cheap stuff from, that's going to break or go out.
Well, you look back 20, 25 years ago, back, when we were really starting in on all this, you couldn't get online and order a frame. Like, for example, a C10 chassis. There's 20 companies that make a C10 chassis now that 20 years ago, that wasn't even an option. You had to take it to somebody in person, like Phat Phabz or somebody to build that for you. Now, if you have that little bit of technology and knowledge to yourself, you can buy that chassis and do all the work yourself. Pick up a part that you offer like that.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, yeah, like I was saying with the social media and the content creator market, how that is so flooded now. There's so many people doing it. Same thing with like automotive parts and manufacturing. There's so many people manufacturing frames or forelinks or front kits. And that all goes back to machinery being more affordable now as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people can buy your CNC plasma table or even like a laser machine. It's a lot more affordable now than it was 10, 15 years ago. But and that just makes a quality product even better. But
and some of these Haas machines where you can, these 5-axis machines, if you don't have one, the access to them now is so more prevalent than it was 10, 20 years ago.
There's tons of websites out there where if you have a file, you can just upload it to a website and somebody can cut whatever you want. It'll probably be pretty affordable and get it in a timely manner. And yeah, it's crazy to see the growth of the industry and how much is out there. We obviously pride ourselves in the product that we offer and the chassis that we build, our suspension geometry, things like that. But are we the best out there? I mean, obviously, in my eyes, we are. But do we make mistakes? Yes. There's
every shop does to some degree.
I truly believe it's about communicating and how you resolve those mistakes. And if somebody has an issue, I always try and get a resolution. But 9 times out of 10, when somebody has a problem, they're not happy and they probably don't want you to fix it because they feel like you can't or don't have the knowledge to. But I mean, anybody that knows the work that we do, they see these trucks that we build that drive across country and pull trailers, and people drive them every day and have 100,000 miles on them. But
well, even like the Blazer I did this year, even though we got it's like, all right, it's done for SEMA. We drove it to Dino's and back, put a little miles on it. There's a couple little things that were like, all right, well, we could have done this different, or I don't like the way that does. Let's fix it. So that's why it's still in Vegas getting tweaked on now. But that's with any build at any shop. There's going to be a handful of little things once you put miles on it that you go, okay, let's adjust this or tweak this before it goes home.
It's funny you say that because that's also something that we always pride ourselves in is progression. And for example, we built a dually for SEMA this year, brand new 2025 Chevy dually, full chassis. Blow it apart a million pieces, put it back together. So the very first one that was I think it was our 12th of the new body style dually that we've done. If you compare, let's say you take that new one we did and you put it on a lift next to the very first one we did, we're going to laugh at ourselves because we've learned so much throughout the years and doing the same truck over and over. People want to call us cookie cutter, but is it really cookie cutter, or is it us just being able to understand how to put these trucks together and make them happy and drive down the road when you've got a brand new truck that's got all this smart technology, all these modules and things that have to be happy to be able to drive at highway speeds with no vibration, pull a trailer, on air suspension, a half inch off the ground. I mean,
you could say the cookie cutter thing about anything. Even Jeremy at Trey 5 that does C10 after C10, or Jason out at New Creations, like they're doing the same build, but they're the same, but they're different. So, but that just means that, like you said, over time, same thing with me. I look back at some of my old features or some old pictures. I'm like, man, that was garbage. I can't believe I submitted those photos compared to what I do now.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you have to learn from your mistakes and try and get better. And every year, I feel like we're doing that. I feel like we're pressing it and trying to be better than our competitors out there in different ways. But whether that's bringing in, you know, the right guys to build it, or having the right equipment. Like, we just got a flat plate laser machine like 6 months ago, and all of our brackets are all laser cut now, and the fitment and just the prep time. I mean, it's just, the quality is just, we're trying to upper quality as much as we can. And that goes back to, like I was saying, you know, Jake sacrificing so much for the company, for the brand. I mean, he's invested so much. You know, some of these builds we do, they cost a lot of money, but that doesn't mean all that money is going in Jake McKay's pocket. He sinks almost every dollar, I feel like, back into that shop, into that business, to help us grow, to make sure all the guys get paid, and you know, and make everybody happy. And you know, he wants to be the best, and sometimes you got to sacrifice to be the best. But
Well, I know you mentioned the money side of it. I know you seen that post a couple weeks ago where somebody's like, "Oh, I wanted this truck bag, and I can't believe they said 80 grand." And it's like, okay, well, do you know the hours that go into it? Yeah, I know the hours that goes into stuff. I've been around this long enough. I've built enough to know the hours. But I've basically lived 4 months in Vegas this year, being hands on with 99% of my Blazer. So the people that want to bitch don't see that body coming off 6 or 7 times. They don't see that front fender going on and off 20 times to get that wheel fitment just right. Like, there's more involved than just take the body off, put it on a new frame, and you're done with it. Like, the price of stuff, not just the materials, not just the hourly rate, but it's like the time it takes to do. You know, we don't have, you know, engine control modules and all this stuff that these new vehicles have on mine, because it was just, you know, it's a Blazer, so it's stripped down. But I almost laugh at the people that think, oh, that's too much. But that's also the same people that go, well, I can do a full color change for $3,000. And I'm like, so you're buying just base color and no clear and no body work? What are we doing? Like, the price of stuff goes up because of the amount of time that's involved in it.
Yeah. And that's something that me and Jake have talked about a lot over the years, is just the misconception that a lot of people have of what things should cost, not knowing the ins and outs of what it takes to get to that final product. You know, a lot of people see our vehicles at shows and stuff like that, and like, oh, that's badass, I want to do that. Yeah, and they call and they talk to me, and they ask me, how much is it going to be to put my truck on the ground on 28s or whatever. And, you know, you tell them a number, and you can almost tell instantly the shock factor.
Yeah.
But there's only so much I can explain in a phone call of the detail and how much work goes into some of these builds. Whereas, like, I've really been trying to, with our new social media, is get a more behind the scenes and what it takes, some of the work that goes into some of these vehicles, because people just, they don't understand unless you're fly on the wall and you see it every day. You just don't understand. You don't understand the hundreds of hours that go into these trucks. You know, our shop rate's 125 an hour, which I feel is pretty reasonable. There's shops that have higher shop rates. Yeah. And but yeah, I mean, when you got hundreds of hours plus you got $30,000-$40,000 in parts and materials, you just can't. It's hard to explain to people.
If you do the math on that, I think my build just on the fab side, not paint, not interior, not powder, just the fab side on mine, I think we had about 1,300 hours in it. So you figure that's what, round numbers, $150,000 in just labor. Like, people don't understand that till they sit back like I did and watch every nut and bolt. And then you've got this, okay, then you had a bolt strip or a bolt snap. Okay, well, there's another 20 minutes to get that out, to put another, like, shit happens and it takes time. You can't just plug and play and build a vehicle to that caliber, especially something large like a dually, and have it done in 200 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you talk about the dually, it's not just as simple as putting airbags under it. Yep. I mean, you're redesigning the whole suspension. You're reconstructing the whole bed.
Yep.
You're reconstructing the whole front core support and fender section. I mean, you're putting a 30-inch wheel under there. So to make it feel like you're driving a new truck on the ground. There's so much involved to get it to that point that when we sell a truck for 200,000, 225,000, I'm like, bro, like that's cheap.
Yep, for sure.
You're buying this dually new for $60,000, $70,000, and then you're buying $20,000 in wheels, and then it's just there's so much.
Well, I look at like mine, just hard parts alone, not any labor or nothing like just hard parts alone. I think I had 110,000 in just parts you can go online and order, and that's with a deal on an engine. Like that's people don't understand that. I'd love to have a group conversation of people that deal with this to kind of explore that, because people in their minds are 20 years ago, like I said, where they think a paint job's $3,000. I know painters that don't start under 80 grand for a full paint job for paint and body. And it's like, people's like, oh, it ain't worth that. Okay, build one yourself. You put the hours behind it. You buy the $200,000 worth of machines and equipment and lasers and stuff that these shops like you have.
Right.
Like it's so much of a investment to do that. You can't just do it in your 2-car garage.
Yeah. And like for a shop to be successful and to be able to progress and grow, you have to charge by the hour. You can't just say, oh, it's going to be 80 grand. And then whenever we do it, we end up having 100 to 120,000 in it and just say, oh, well, I told you 80, that's what it's going to be. You're losing money. You can't pay your guys. You can't buy more equipment or whatever to keep the lights on and keep growing. It just does. I mean, anybody that has owned a shop, ran a shop, they can relate to that. The people that want to complain about the price of stuff, they obviously don't understand. And I try my best every day when I'm talking to these people to explain the amount of work. I have tons of pictures, videos. People, if they want to, me to send them to them, then I can, and I can show you. It's insane. I got all my guys that work on whether sheet metal, the fabrication of the chassis. They all flag hours. They all show how much time they've worked on this particular piece. So like fabricating this fender or building this part of the chassis. We document all of that, all of the materials that we use, all of the parts that we put into it. All of that is documented on every single customer build. So it's like an open book. If a customer wants to know where they're at, this is what you got. This is what we've done. And what's your budget? You got another 20 grand. Like, I mean, people see these finished trucks and that's what they want, which is amazing. I love that people want to build and emulate trucks that we've done, but they also have to understand that it comes at a cost, and nobody's working for free. Nobody's selling their parts for free. And sponsorships are very rare nowadays. So it's just, man, it's tough. It's tough. And with the economy, it's very hard.
And you say like the sponsorship thing, somebody just goes, hey, I want to build a truck like that. They're not going to have the company throw anything at them because they don't have that brand behind them. They don't have the track record or the past builds. So it takes someone that has been involved in it to work with these companies. They're not just going to throw free parts here and there. But people that bitch about, a paint job not being $3,000, or same one that's like, I don't understand how that car had $2 million in it. It's like, okay, that car was an 8-year build. I mean, look at some of the Ring Brothers stuff or Classic Car Studio stuff. Like those guys are charging by the hours, but the amount of work and fab work they do, hands down, that's a 7-figure vehicle all day long.
Yeah.
But, back 20 years ago, there wasn't a such thing as $1 million build. Now that almost seems common.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I don't know. It's just hard. Like at the end of the day, it's a truck that if you put $80,000 to $100,000 into whatever truck you want to build, you're not getting it back.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you're not going to get that money back. But you're only investing that money because you want to, because you enjoy it, because that's what you enjoy. And what we do is not a necessity. It's a hobby. They're toys for people. So it's just hard. I mean, it's like people want to complain about price, but they also have to remember they're wanting to build this because they enjoy it, because it's a toy to them, So, but it's fun though. I mean, we have some of the best customers out there, the ones that allow us to build their dreams and build these trucks. I mean, they're great. They're our champions, and they go to bat for us when these people are out there trying to throw us into the mud, but it is what it is. There's going to be haters no matter what you do in life, and it's all about how you come around from it. So,
End of the day, someone's hating. They're still talking about you.
yeah, exactly. So,
Well, how long of a wait list y'all have right now?
man, I feel like consistently our wait list is 8 months to a year. It's just that's how it's been for forever. I feel like we are getting a shorter list as of late. We're transitioning into a smaller customer list and into we're going to be building trucks and cars, old hot rods and stuff to sell. That's what our future is what we're trying to transition into. We're soon planning an expansion. We'll be able to do paint body in house and maybe interior in house. We'll see. I want it to be a one stop shop. I want to be able to build those high quality hot rods and trucks and stuff like that. But
seems the way a lot of the big shops are doing. I think I think Fat Fender said they do everything in house but powder. I think.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you don't want to grow too fast, but you also want to be able to have control of the quality of what you're outsourcing. And that's very hard to do when you're outsourcing it. You could send a truck to get painted or get interior, and the quality work they do is amazing. But I mean, just not being able to oversee it, it's tough. It's tough. And if we're referring that to our customer, oh yeah, they're the best, and you send it over there and you have some sort of issue, that comes back on us. And so if we can have it all in house, that's the ideal situation. That way, if there is an issue, it really is our fault, our problem. But that's the dream. That's the goal. That's what me and Jake are pushing for. And I think that right now we have a good group of guys that want the same thing and they want to grow. Because even some of the guys that we've hired as of late, I even tell them like, man, it's like, you don't understand. Like, this is still the ground floor. Like, we're still growing. Like,
how many employees are there now?
So much.
How many employees are there?
Right now, I think we got 12.
Oh, wow, because there was 3 when mine was done.
Yeah. We've had as many as almost 15, but it's just a lot of growing pains since we've been in that new shop, that big shop. It's just figuring out how we want to grow and progress and where we want to be. And we've had a lot of good luck with some local tech schools with some of these young guys that are eager to learn and eager to grow with us. And dude, some badass welders, man. And they're local, So we've had some guys come from out of state, and it's just tough, man. It's tough. It's tough for people to move, and especially guys with families and stuff like that. And we can't always afford to pay these guys some crazy number. To come work with us. We're just not to that point yet, but we're getting there. We're growing.
Now I know you talk about seeing some of the stuff change over the years. With as long as you've been there and going from back when you started with your S10 to where you see the shop going now, where do you see these trends going? I know now it's like if you don't have a set of 30s on a bag truck, like it don't fit the theme. But where do you see the trend going? Do you see more hot rod style, more classic type stuff, or are we going to continue to see all this 30 wheel stuff?
So, man, that's tough because I think that the guys that are like my age, your age, are the mini truck thing's kind of coming back. So it's almost like a full circle deal. Also, like the OBS trucks that were built in the 90s, whether Ford, Chevy, whatever, those are real popular right now because guys our age, that's what we grew up driving. That's what we grew up seeing. So, and you're older, you're better with your money, you have more money, or you have kids that are graduated, out of the house, and you're like, okay, now's the time. I'm going to build my dream truck, It's been 18 years or whatever, So I think we're going to see a lot of that, a lot of the more mini trucks as we've been seeing over the last few years, more like quality built mini trucks. I think we're going to see a lot of nice OBS trucks. And as far as like the 30s and stuff, I think that's going to continue. That to me is like the new age guys, the guys that weren't around 15, 20, 30 years ago. air ride industry, those are these newcomers that want to build the biggest and baddest shit. They're the ones that are going to continue that trend on. So as far as what I see changing, I don't see anything changing majorly in the next 5 to 10 years, other than maybe the early 2000s becoming the classic truck. Because the older we get, those trucks get older, and because I even told Jake like 5 or 6 years ago, I was like, man, it's like the OBS trucks are going to be like the C10 coming. Like it is like we need to step on the gas on kits and chassis and things like that for those, because those are gonna be hot. And here we are. They're everywhere. Everybody's building them. Everybody, and them trucks are nice ones that are fully built, full chassis, stuff like that. I've seen them go for 100,000 plus,
easy.
With like your LSX motors and stuff like that. The LT4s and whatever whatever they can get their hands on. But yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what new trends. I feel like every year's there's always some weird trend that comes out. That
it was hard for me to run instead of 22s this year. I'm like, not like 22s, like that's on my daily, like that's on a, it's just hard to step down to that. But you can't do a big wheel on a classic and make it look worth a damn.
That's true. Yes and no. We actually we're doing a Blazer right now, the same body style as yours, square body, and we're doing 26s on it, full chassis.
Won't that stick up over the window in the back?
So right now the frame is sticking down a little bit to kind of balance that out, but we've done a couple trucks on bigger wheels, older trucks, and we've extended the rocker down, built new sheet metal down.
Gotcha.
To make it look stock. Because when you're talking a couple inches and you're building that roll down, you can't tell. Yeah. So we have some of the best sheet metal guys that I've ever seen in our shop, and they have such a creative mind. Like, it blows my mind every day. I'm like, how did you even like figure that out? Like, how did you even think to do that? And they're like, oh, well, it just came to me. I'm like, I don't know how, but they're so good.
Same way with Adam was building the Blazer. Like, I'd sit there and watch him just take this piece of flat metal and this piece of tube and this and like weld and grind and drill. And I'm like, how did you make that? I couldn't do it. I watched him do it and could not duplicate it if I tried.
The creativity just blows my mind every day. And it's hard to not like go in and just kind of get used to it. Sometimes you got to sit back and just like, man, these guys are badasses. Like this, we're building some cool shit. And what's sad is like a lot of the times, like especially on these newer ones, it all gets covered up. So like at a show, people don't understand what they're looking at. They don't understand the creativity and the finished product underneath all of that sheet metal, that's in there. Man, it's crazy. So yeah, it sounds like I need to be like documenting more of this stuff so people can see it, get people excited as me as I get when I see some of this stuff. So,
well, it's like me. I said I wouldn't want to do something lifted because of all that cleaning with all that powder and stuff. And here I am with frame rails that are shaved, powder coated everything. And it's like, well, I guess I'm gonna be throwing on a lift every so often and cleaning it. But then that's the things. Like I watched a guy, there's a show the Saturday after SEMA I went to, watch the judges walk around. They didn't even notice the amount of work. There's more work under my Blazer than there is that you physically see. And they just, like, people just don't see that because it's not in your face. Same thing like yours. So you cover it all up with the bed and everything. You don't see it.
Yeah, and the only people that will know to look for things like that are people that have been through the process or that are fabricators, builders out there. They're the ones that are going to notice stuff like that. But your normal everyday person, they don't understand. And for us, a lot of the time is kind of rewarding if somebody sees like these new dualies and they're like, oh, that's cool, looks badass or whatever. And they can't tell that the bed's been completely modified to fit those 30s. It looks
widened and raised, and
yeah, it looks factory to them, and that's awesome. That's our goal, is for it to look that way. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of rewarding. It's I don't know. I enjoy that part of it. The guys, they can get frustrated sometimes about they just walk by, they don't understand the amount of work. Yeah, that's awesome. That means you did your job right. That means that we know what we're doing somewhat.
Well, then you watch that one guy that walks by and points at that one thing. Well, that right there, you could tell that was modified, and it's like, yep, that's it. So the first time somebody comes by and looks under mine and goes, And that frame rails are shaved on that. Like the average guy's not going to see that, but us guys that know what to look for are going to see it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, circling back to the whole solo films deal, now that you're established with what you are and everything, doing it with Phat Phabz, could you ever see yourself going back to doing regular stuff for YouTube now through the solo films thing?
I don't know, man. People ask me that all the time. They're always like, "Man, you need to, make a comeback." Blah blah blah. Which sounds awesome, but I just don't. I don't know, man. That's just not something that I see in my future. I do enjoy doing video from time to time, but it's just I don't know. I just enjoy my job now so much, and just enjoy seeing the growth and knowing the potential of the shop now. It's hard to even like see myself doing that again. I don't know. It's just it's. I mean, if something came up and that was like there's some sort of opportunity, I don't know. I don't know what could happen, but yeah, I mean, I would be open to it. But right now, no, I don't see that. I would rather just hire somebody to do the video.
Well, look, you didn't have gimbals back then. You didn't have wireless microphones back then. You're just winging it.
Yeah, it was a grind. It's a struggle. Yeah, it's crazy. The journey is crazy to think about. Had a lot of good friends, a lot of good opportunities. Man, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
It's cool to see someone else that's been in the same thing since high school. I know you're probably like me. You've watched a lot of friends that's been into it hot and heavy and then just disappear out of it.
Yeah.
Quit going to shows, quit doing custom vehicles. You run into them at the mall or a ball game and you're like, oh, what are you doing now? Oh, I golf on the weekends. And it's like, that don't sound fun.
Hey, I golf on the weekends.
It doesn't sound fun to me though.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, it's definitely like a lifestyle, and it's something that you have to really enjoy. And I think just being in that shop atmosphere every day, it does something to you to just keep you excited, interested. You see like how excited customers get to get their vehicles, and or even like people that buy our merchandise, our shirts and stuff, how excited they get, to buy a shirt, or when we have new stuff out. So it's awesome to see that, and I don't know, it's just awesome to be a part of. But
that sticker you showed me the other day, I'm gonna have to get some of those stickers when they come out. So,
yeah, I'm trying to do almost every old build that we've done in a sticker, kind of like collector series. Yeah. It's fun. People seem to like it.
It's funny though, because now there's 3 maroon, well, 2 now that one caught fire that I've been tagged in a million times, people asking if it's my old build.
Yeah.
But there's 3, and it's funny though, because everybody's like, oh, that's cranberry. And it's like, no, it's not. I get tagged in those builds all the time. And it's like, I guess because I did that first maroon one, I guess everybody thinks that now if somebody does the same one, it's mine.
Yeah. Well, anytime somebody calls and they got like a newer body Ram, it's always like, oh yeah, y'all did that cranberry truck. I want to do that. Like that was cool. I love that truck. So it's definitely, people still remember and still, still like that truck. I don't know where it is now.
It's in South Dakota, and the last I heard, see, I sold at the end of 21, right after SEMA, after it went for the second time. And I want to say the last I heard, the guy had 1,000 miles on it since then. It sits in a warehouse. He bought just have something fun done to drive on the weekends, and it just sits.
Is he like a collector, has like a collection of vehicles, or
not really? Like that's the first bag one he's ever owned. It's the first he's got a couple like cool, not really lifted trucks, but more like I guess level trucks. He got some baggers and stuff, but it matched the color of his bagger, and he wanted something he could pull his bagger with and have it cool. But it just sits. He'll comment on something every now and then, and I was like, "You still got the truck?" He's like, "Yeah, sitting in the shop." I mean, it's South Dakota. You can't really get it out much of the year.
That's true too.
That was definitely a fun build, and of course, COVID hit right after I had it done, so I didn't get to do much with it that first year. But it was like to be able to roll somewhere a half inch off the ground was just that. Check my check box where I wanted something big wheeled bag. Now I've got the full powder chassis, the classic. it's just something, it's something different, but it's still the same. It's still something that catches attention. And it was crazy. I go to the gas station here in North Carolina, a mile from my house. Somebody's like, man, that looks like something out of like Texas or something. You from Texas? I'm like, no, I live a mile down the road. And they're like, oh, you must have just moved here. And I'm like, no, I had this built somewhere, but this is, they always thought the Ram was from somewhere other than North Carolina.
I mean, it's one of those things that I could see that just stands out, which even like I say that the stuff that we do stands out around here, but I think like where the shop is in Choctaw, it's those people around there are so used to seeing us driving around town. I think it's just another day for them. Like we'll have a new build, we'll be test driving it, and I feel like it doesn't really like people are like look, but I think they're there goes Phat Phabz again, Small town Oklahoma, they're Phat Phabz and they're lowriders.
And see, I thought Oklahoma City, as someone that's never been there, you think Oklahoma City, that's a big city. But it's like, then when you go, it's like Oklahoma City as the whole is big, but downtown is like tiny.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people in Oklahoma City and the subsidiaries around, but yeah, the downtown's smaller compared to like bigger cities, but it has grown a lot, especially since the Thunder came to Oklahoma City. The downtown area's grown so much since then. Like if you would have seen it back then before, you would have really thought it was small. Yeah. Because there wasn't even like that many like technically skyscrapers. But
I know we went out there and dropped the truck off. We stayed for a couple of days, whatever, and sightseed some. And I was like, on TV and movies, you would think Oklahoma City's this big, massive LA style city, but it's like it's a small town with a couple skyscrapers in it.
Yeah, yeah.
But then where you guys are at, you're out in the country.
Yeah, open spaces.
Yeah, ready for the tornadoes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's crazy. But that's born and raised here, and that's what we know. It's just like people that live like Florida, you're like, how do you live in Florida with these hurricanes? And they're like, I mean, it's not that big a deal. It's the same thing here. I mean, yeah, tornadoes are scary, but it's just that's what we know.
We're not used to having hurricanes here. Then last year we had that one that ravaged our area. Like they're like, well, how'd you not prepare for that? I'm like, that's like preparing Miami for a blizzard. Like it don't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. The weather's it's been weird. It's been weird.
It's supposed to be, I think, 72 here on Christmas.
Oh, same. It's supposed to be in the 70s here.
And like, it was 17 last week one day.
Oh yeah. Same. Yeah. I went to the shop one morning and my truck said 20 degrees. I'm like, what? And that was like a few days ago. And then they're talking 70 degrees, 80 degrees Christmas. Yeah, it's crazy.
So how do people find you online, and how do they find the shop online to keep up with what you and the shop's doing?
So all the social media for the shop is all gonna be the same. Phat Phabz, just like that. I don't know if you can see it, or that, I guess. Yeah. That's our airbag logo. That we've kind of transitioned into that. We still use the old school logo a little bit, but Jake fell in love with this airbag, so we stamp it on everything. But yeah, Phat Phabz, we're on, let's see, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
See, I ask everybody when they mention TikTok, are you dancing on TikTok? Is that what
we did do one of our first TikToks. There was like a weird dance thing that we did. Let's see. But no, it's all mostly reels and stuff like you'd see on our Instagram or Facebook. It's a lot of the same content across all the platforms. We also have our YouTube, which kind of fell off. We had hired a full-time. We went through a couple of video guys full-time. It just didn't work out with them. So it kind of fell off on YouTube. Jake's wanting to kind of just start posting reels and stuff on there, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like the TikTok and Instagram reels, that's really popular right now. And that's another thing, like you saying, like trends and stuff. It's crazy to see the trends in social media, how much they change all the time. Oh, phone's dying. But yeah, you can find us on there. I'm on Facebook. Instagram is the Solo Films DVD. I don't really post much anymore with the Solo Film stuff. I've got a Solo Films TikTok that I post some behind the scenes stuff sometimes from the shop. That got some videos on there that kind of blew up. That's just me filming like with my phone because 4K in your pocket makes it easy. But yeah, I mean, as far as like what I post is just really sharing the shop stuff. I don't really post a whole lot, or golf, because I got into golf over the last couple of years. Me and my wife, we started golfing together. We've been learning together, and it's gets us out of the house and into nature. But it's fun. Old man sport. I'm 40 now.
Man, yeah, you're still a baby. So, well, man, I appreciate you coming on. I know we've been trying to link up for a minute, so good to have you on. I'm sure we'll run into you at a few events, and always looking forward to see what you guys turn out.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and hopefully get a little insight into my journey and all that. And hopefully, you can track down Jake soon and kind of get his insight and all that.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. We'll see you.